Yeah.
Welcome, friends, to the Alpenglow Winter Speaker Series. Please give it up for your host, Brendan Madigan.
All right, what's up, everybody? How you guys feeling tonight? Yeah, this is bar none our biggest crowd ever, so let's give it up for all of you guys for coming. There's hardly enough room for Raffle winners to get up to the stage. My name is Brendan Madigan. I'd like to cordially welcome you to the second show of our 20th annual Alpenglow Sports Winter Speaker Series, presented by our friends at the North Tahoe Chamber. It's going to be a good night. We have an amazing show in store for you tonight. We have arguably the most progressive and epic backcountry skier to ever lace them up, the one, the only Chris Benchetler. But before we get the show started, we've got some throwouts to get the crowd even more hyped. It is scientifically proven that the louder you are and the more noise you make, the more optimal you might be to win a hat or a beanie or a buff. So let's give it up for our throwers. Come on, y'all. All right, y'all, hurry up. We got a show to put on. So, I know there are some Winter Speaker Series vets in the crowd tonight, but given the size of this crowd, thanks again for the turnout, there's also some folks who are joining us for the very first time. So to you, the newbies, I'd like to say thank you for joining the Winter Speaker Series community and family. Your presence is valued, and I thank you. For context, the Winter Speaker Series has a twofold goal. The first is to motivate and inspire all mountain athletes of any ability or level to go out and chase their dreams. Someone's chasing that dream tomorrow. For real, we want this event to galvanize you to go and optimize this one precious life that we all get to live. The second goal is to raise funds and awareness for amazing nonprofit groups like tonight's beneficiary, the Truckee Roundhouse, who are making our community the most epic place to live, play, and work. Some people have called the Winter Speaker Series North America's premier adventure storytelling event. These are their words, they're not mine. Other people have called it a TED Talk for mountain communities. I think those are both high praise, and obviously, we've got a good crowd here tonight. We're going to try to do both, check both boxes. Invariably, every year, 5 world-class athletes come to our community and share epic tales of adventure. And that might be here in our backyard, it might be in faraway places, but invariably, it is the most epic adventure tales you can listen to. And between our bar sales, the bar is packed. Yeah. Thank you, Alibi, for donating all the beer and happy hour. And our 2 giveaways, one in person and one online, plus our 150-person family anonymous donor party, a group that I have to tell you, shout out the donor party, because that group is going to raise over $500,000 for this season alone. And all that means is every show night is pulling, through your generosity, over $125,000. And I have to tell you, one of the most things I'm proud of in my life, in my professional career, is that this event, your generosity, our community, after this season will have raised over $3 million for us. And I have to tell you that I believe, while biased, that the Winter Speaker Series has a ripple effect that makes our community and our community members better. Word, right? I heard one yes of like 700 people. Yeah. But for real, the first example I want to give you is a $20,000 match from our friends at the Tahoe Fund. Yeah. We're going to break that. We already broke it in like 1.5 shows, and there's a rumor that they might go back to the well and double it for our 20th year times 2, because we broke it 40K. But then there's also amazing community members. And I know Brad Altman is here. Ha, I can see you. That is Brad Altman right there. Put your hand in the sky, bro. The donor party is supposed to be anonymous, but I'm going to out Brad because he's a member. He's also the co-owner of a longtime sponsor in Evolve Design Works, makes this event, along with other friends, free to our community. He also sits with some other epic volunteers on our nonprofit selection committee, a group that works tirelessly almost all summer long to pick these groups. They ask the legal questions, they ask the financial questions, as opposed to me just being like, Truckee Roundhouse, sweet, high fives, you're in. No, we're raising way too much money, and guys like Brad know what to ask to make this thing authentic. But he also doesn't stop there. This is like the Brad show all of a sudden. He's worked with a client this fall who didn't join the donor party, but instead just said, screw it, I'm going to write a $100,000 check to the Truckee Roundhouse. Brad Altman facilitated that, and I got to tell you, he didn't just stop there as if that wasn't epic enough. He got another client to raise $90,000 for a group we funded in the past, Tahoe Nordic Search and Rescue, so they could buy new vehicles. So I got to tell you, we got to give it up for Brad Altman. And however we might describe these nights, I can tell you that they are electric, they are inspirational, and when the speaker gets it right, no pressure, Chris, these stories transcend our reality, and they teach us vital, relatable aspects of our shared human condition. And with that, I'd like to welcome tonight's beneficiary, the Truckee Roundhouse.
My name is Karen Stanley, and I'm the Executive Director of the Truckee Roundhouse Community Makerspace. We are so grateful to the Alpenglow Sports Winter Speaker Series and the Donor Party for this incredible opportunity to raise both funds and awareness for the Truckee Roundhouse. Since opening our doors in 2016, the Roundhouse has become a place where people of all ages and backgrounds come together to learn, create, and connect. For those who don't know us, we're a community-run, community-benefiting arts and education organization located at the Truckee Tahoe Airport. In our 4,600 square foot space, we have 5 fully functioning shops: wood, metal, textiles, ceramics, and technology. With tools like laser cutters, plasma cutters, and 3D printers, we help people explore new skills, launch small businesses, pursue creative passions, or simply unwind from the stress of life. Today, with more than 360 members and thousands of annual class visits, that dream is alive and thriving. We see families working side by side, entrepreneurs testing prototypes, and lifelong makers sharing their craft with the next generation. What we're most proud of is our education and community enrichment program. We partner with local schools and nonprofits to design hands-on workshops that pair students with skilled mentors. In these workshops, students don't just learn how to make things, they discover patience, teamwork, and confidence in their own abilities.
Sounded like a good weld.
At the Roundhouse, community is everything. We're always finding ways to bring people together and make a positive impact across our region. And for many, the Roundhouse is a haven. We've seen athletes heal here through making. We've watched retirees find joy in mentoring, and new neighbors build friendships that turn into community. The Roundhouse is the only facility of its kind in the Truckee Tahoe region. In a rural area where access to arts and vocational programs is limited, the Roundhouse has become more than just a makerspace. It's a wellness initiative, a vocational incubator, and a creative sanctuary. Your support helps us keep our programs accessible and affordable. It funds our partner class and kids camp scholarship programs, ensuring that no one is ever turned away for lack of funding. At the Truckee Roundhouse, the impact of making goes far beyond what we build with our hands. It helps people find purpose, joy, and a renewed sense of possibility. Thank you for supporting the Truckee Roundhouse, and thank you to the Alpenglow Sports Winter Speaker Series and the Donor Party for investing in a more creative and inspired mountain region. Please join me in welcoming tonight's speaker, Chris Benchetler, a maker and artist himself.
All right, y'all, come on, let's hear it for Truckee Roundhouse now. Sweet. So just our in-person raffle alone raised over 15 grand, guys, I gotta tell you that. But we could not put on the Winter Speaker Series without the help of some heavy hitters. Not only will you see global brands such as Palisades Tahoe, Osprey Packs, the North Face, Black Diamond, shout out Dan Dixon is with us from BD at every show, tirelessly working back there. And tonight, especially Arc'teryx, who was formative in bringing Chris to our community. So let's give it up for them. But there's also epic local companies, folks like Peter Beaupre from Prosser Building Design, the homie Mike Rogie from Mountain Gazette, y'all know him? Print is definitely not dead. Emerald Bay Wealth Management, DeForest Architects, thank you Brett and Tracy Smith, and then all these other amazing companies. So when push comes to shove, if you love the speaker series, I encourage you to love these guys back. All right, y'all ready for some raffles?
Can you remember to tell people that they have to pick up their booze prize in the back?
Okay, so we have some alcohol sponsors tonight. If you are a winner of alcohol, legal jargon here, you have to pick up your prize in the back where we will ID you and do all that correct stuff. Okay, prize bundle number one, a little over $1,000. Who wants some of that, you guys? What color? Damn, there are a lot of raffle tickets in here. All right, I got orange. 802-815. 802-815. Going once. The fire marshal is here. Are we in trouble, fire marshal? All right, sweet. Okay, going twice. 802-815, winner. Let's hear it for this guy. Yeah, enthusiasm. If you just walk up to the stage after you've won like a couple $1,000, we're rescinding your prize. Okay, this is our online prize bundle, our first prize bundle, so viewers at home can feel like they're part of this really packed crowd. The winner is Laura Dawson. Let's hear it for Laura. All right, next up, our second prize in-person prize bundle. We've got goodies from Arc'teryx, Osprey, Chris's sponsors, Dragon, Altamar Tequila. Oh man, there's an entry to the Great Ski Race. Come on, y'all, who wants some of that? What color? Red? Bro, I heard you. I got white, or like a hydrated yellow. 874-405. Yellow ticket 874-405. Going once. Damn, Chris. This is Mount Lincoln Construction, one of our longtime partners. Let's give it up for Chris. All right. Next up, our third in-person prize bundle, a total of $1,500. What color you guys want? I got a blue ticket, 121784, blue ticket, going once. 121784, going twice. All right, we got a winner from the crowded back. We have to cheer her until she gets to the front. Come on, y'all. She's not here yet. Keep it going. Damn. It's like obstacle course racing at the Winter Speaker Series. All right, winner. Congrats, girl. She's got it for you. Okay, next up, our second online prize bundle. You guys know you can buy tickets for the in-person and online in double dip? Just saying. $1,000. Let's see our winner, Julie Skorheim. Congrats, Julie. All right, our fourth prize bundle, another $1,500 worth of goodies. What color you guys want? Pick me a ticket. Just one. Just one. There you go. I got to read it, though. I got the mic. Okay, green ticket 781118. Green ticket 781118. Going once. Yeah? That's a lot of ticket in my man's hands. Wait, are we doubtful? Oh, redo. Are you coming? Oh, damn. All right. Winner. Congrats.
Thank you, Mountain Speaker Series.
Okay, our fifth in-person prize bundle. The dollar's creeping up, $1,800. This dude bought so many tickets, he dropped them. He still has a handful. Okay, what color, you guys? Come on, Tav, don't look.
This one fell out.
All right, I got a pink ticket. Thank you, Tav. 061491. 061491, going once. Is that Craig Donato? Oh, damn, Craig. Come on, y'all, give it up for Craig. Craig and his better half, Kristen, are like some of the nicest people in Lake Tahoe. Let's give it up for Craig, y'all. Okay, this is our grand prize for online. All right, John Beeble, congrats, buddy. You just won $1,200 worth of stuff. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, our sixth in-person prize bundle, $2,500. Come on, y'all, what color you want? All right, I got a green ticket. Who's got a green ticket? 510324. 510324, green ticket. Did someone fall or was that a winner? Green ticket 510324, going twice. All right, bro, come on. You got to do like a somersault or at least jog. Come on, let's clap it up. $2,500.
It was
324.
312.
All right. Our next prize bundle is the grand prize. $2,600, a pair of Benchetlers, Arc'teryx jacket, all kinds of goodness. What color you guys want? The kid screaming red is gone. Come on, Troy. Don't look, bro. Come on. All right. Who's got a pink ticket? Well, you're bummed because I got a green ticket. Sorry. Happy New Year. Okay, who's got a green ticket? Y'all raise your hands. 510. 8. Who's in the running? 9. 5. 510895, grand winner. Going once. Come on, girl, you gotta know. All right. Damn, Lauren Hickey. Come on, y'all, Lauren Hickey. Lauren sits on the board of the Roundhouse and is an amazing community member. Let's give it up for the grand prize winner. Okay. So tonight we welcome Mammoth native Chris Benchetler. Chris is regarded as one of the most creative backcountry skiers of all time. He's featured in countless ski movies from TGR, Warren Miller, Poor Boys, and Sweetgrass Productions. Known for his art's first ski film collective, Nimbus Independent, Chris has redefined how ski media is created. He's created a signature ski line from Atomic, including one of the best-selling freeride skis of all time, the appropriately named Benchetler. He's competed in the X and Gravity Games before devoting his cross-disciplinary approach to create paintings, murals, and immersive film experiences that merge skiing, art, and nature. And besides all the radness and artistic talent, Chris has stood by his family through unimaginable suffering and hardship. We are tremendously lucky to have him, y'all. Let's give it up for Chris Benchetler.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Is this thing working? Sounds like it. Wow. This is incredible. Thank you guys so much for being here. I am humbled, honored, and it's a privilege to just see this community come together. So let me just share a little bit about my life here. And I guess I would like to honor, before we get started, this journey that I've gone on has a lot of death in it in the most beautiful way, but more recently, I'm from Mammoth. We just lost another patroller. And I know many of you in this community have lost friends and family, and the mountains give and they take away sometimes, but just want to honor them and honor the other people we'll be speaking about tonight, and honor you, little buddy. My kids are here too. He's waving at me. Yes, just thank you so much, and I just appreciate you being here. Before I go any further, thank you, Truckee Roundhouse, for having me speak tonight, too. And such an incredible, art, community, culture. It's everything I live by. It's everything I care about outside of my family, but they fit right into that. So, yes, just thank you for supporting this evening and letting me speak tonight. So, illuminating the threads of connection. And the power of being open. I think you could take this a lot of different ways, whether you call it divine timing, luck, God, the universe. I've just had this incredible life, and even I'll go to before I was even in the picture, and just the threads that have connected and the lessons I've learned, the people, the mentors, the father figures. There's so much in my life that has shaped me into who I am today, and I hope to just share a little bit of that and just ask yourself if you've ever had something unexplainable happen just because of your mindset or just because of being open. And just, it can go as easy as changing your trajectory in the mountains. We all make these decisions. We call it intuition, instinct, all of these things. I often refer to it as the universe. And just trying to be open and constantly listening has taken my life on an incredible journey. So I'm going to share a few meaningful moments through that. And I kind of am already here. So tonight will not be a linear story either. I'm an artist, you know, my head's complicated. My mind is not a linear mind. My wife can attest. And I just will take you. I'm going to speak a lot about this project I've been working on too, Mountains of the Moon. It's been a culmination of all of these threads, all of these people, all of these things that have kind of helped me create a project that's really an extension of me and how I see the world and the importance of nature and people and collaboration and all of these things. And so we're going to start tonight with the trailer to my film. For those who haven't seen it, this is Mountains of the Moon, which has just come out this fall, and you'll learn more here shortly. Thank you very much. I'm going to take you all the way back to Budapest, Hungary, where my father, there in the wagon, was born. And I also want to honor this gentleman in the front, one of my dad's best friends here tonight, which is incredible to see because my dad is no longer with us. So thanks for being here, Jay. Yes, it is insane going back to these threads and to the things that are written in our path, or if it is, like I said, the universe speaking to you. But this is back. My father was born in 1951 in Budapest during the Hungarian Revolution. My grandfather, incredible man who I got to know a lot better than my dad, just was many things, one being a ballet dancer in the Hungarian opera. He was also a tailor, and apparently they weren't very good photographers back in Budapest, but that's the best I could do for finding ballet photos of him and my grandmother. They were both ballet dancers. They met as teenagers, had my dad quite young, and during the Hungarian Revolution, which I can't speak to all the facts because I didn't do enough homework, was a communist rule, and they wanted to escape to America. And he hoped to start a better life. And they had a very challenging time getting out of Budapest, and it just so happens, going back to how these things connect, that I only learned recently, digging through my mom's box of things to make this slideshow, that that they ended up in Salzburg, Austria, which happens to be where Atomic is based, where I spend a lot of time now. So it's kind of incredible that after escaping, they got to a safe house in Salzburg, which I only learned about a few nights ago, because I'm not a very prepared person either. So I made this very recently. And it was, they were able to escape. My grandfather got chemicals that he painted on my dad to look like measles, to look like an outbreak of measles, convinced the guards that he was very contagious. They let them leave the country, and they landed on the East Coast, and then eventually made their way to the West Coast, where my dad on the left there became a little surf turkey, which I later became as myself. He ended up in Long Beach. My grandfather became a tailor, so started as an artist and an athlete in ballet and kept pursuing the arts in creating suits and all kinds of things for the companies he was working for. And my dad, I didn't get to know this, but apparently got pretty good at surfing. Did you ever surf with my dad? Never did. Okay. He was very into it, but eventually came up to Mammoth Mountain and never went back to surfing. Never taught my brother and I how to surf. Never really, just left that life behind. Similar to my grandfather, they were so much like I am today, of taking risk and leaving what they know and getting out of their comfort zone and trusting that intuition and trusting those threads and kind of pulling on the opportunities that they saw for themselves. And so my dad in late 60s, early 70s ended up in Mammoth. There's him ski racing. He's got pretty good form. And my grandfather and him up at the top of Mammoth, probably in the early 70s. And then my lovely mother, who he married in 1973. And enters Jade into the picture. But yeah, they taught us a lot about the mountains. They were just incredible parents and very passionate skiers, like many of you. Jay is a passionate climber. I think my dad even dabbled in climbing a little bit. He kind of did all of these things, like surfing and skiing and climbing, and things that I never really got to learn as a child because I complained too much, and I would cry when they would go skiing up Mount Tom and ski it every year. I wanted to go, but he wouldn't let me because it was too big of a hike, I think, for a 12-year-old. So, yes, I'm now learning more of that, and I didn't have too much different of a face. You know, I was very upset about skiing. That's me. That's my brother. I, somewhere along the way, clearly fell in love with skiing thanks to how I was brought up and the things that it taught me. And ultimately, we'll go here. I think my first language that I really spoke fluently was art, which has come full circle for many of you that follow what I do now. I pretty much did not pay, earmuffs, children. I did not pay attention in school very well. I drew on every piece of homework, every textbook, everything. I was constantly doodling, drawing, creating, and not truly understanding where that was taking me in life, but just letting these things move through me at an early age and taking this passion of mine and just continually practicing it and learning a craft, if you will. And somewhere along the way, that frown turned upside down. I fell in love with skiing, and skiing now became my art. It became my church. It became everything to me. I had a blank canvas, if you will, and I was able to draw lines down the mountains in ways that I had not yet seen done before. I was able to express myself both as an artist, as an athlete, and pursue this career that has led me to this stage in front of all you lovely humans. And I think I'm pretty much on track here. I haven't looked at this once yet, but yes. And then, as skiing progressed as a kid, I fell more and more in love with it. My dad was a builder. He saw me falling more and more in love with it. He then joined, I think it was a host program. He was kind of like a volunteer patrol, if you will, And he did that on the weekends, so he had an excuse to take me to the race team, which I think I started around age 12. And he would take me up every weekend, still a very passionate skier. And around this time, these photos I could find, we don't take a lot of photos in my family, apparently, he got diagnosed with lung cancer. And that diagnosis was extremely challenging on me. I had to grow up very quick. I had to learn a lot. And shortly after a very aggressive battle with cancer, he unfortunately passed away. And from that point on, my travels, my skiing, my artistry, everything became a father figure, if you will. And I started going to the mountains for peace, to answer life's big questions, to talk about this universe and what threads I should pull on and what decisions I should make, and just climbing the peaks and valleys of life. The mountains were I guess a cathedral, if you will, for me, and something that I just fell deeply in love with, and went to some incredible places. I know Jeremy's ridden there many times, one of my favorites, down in Bishop. And I got to travel the world, started taking risk, started doing a lot of the things that my grandfather and my father did without really understanding what I was doing, but that understanding was my intuition, was my instinct, and just trying to listen to myself, listen to the universe, try and figure out where this life was taking me. And this life took me to some incredible places and to some incredible people. I want to point out the person on the left there is that beautiful woman, Sherry McConkey, who's here tonight, and I got Michelle Parker up there. I'm sorry, Sherry. I didn't have a lot of photos. I started building a community. I started building just so many friendships and traveling the world. And those people, especially a few of those in those photos, really showed up for Kimmy and I later and during hard times. And just understanding how important all of you are, how important your community is, how important friendships are. And I was learning, building, evolving, not really having the father figure that I had. And along the way, it was mentioned tonight, we created Nimbus Independent, which was another massive learning lesson, was my school. I'd now learned from really good friends of mine, Eric Pollard, who's under a mask, Pep Fugis, who's under a mask, Andy Mayer, and I all started Nimbus Independent, which was before webisodes were a thing, which are very common now. It was in 2007 we made Idea, and we knew that we wanted to do something different. We wanted to have creative control over our process, over what we were doing out there in the mountains, and take it back to riding with your friends, riding how all of us grew up riding on the resorts, riding tracked out conditions, losing the tripod, losing the film camera, just grabbing a very easy digital camera and chasing each other around the mountains. And we saw incredible things. That was a solid decade of my life, chasing these guys around. You would think I would have more photos than I did, but here we are. And we had an amazing opportunity to try something new, and I, once again, had so many mentors teaching me without necessarily telling me anything, but for me to just see how these guys showed up, how they were operating, and contributing my ideas and my creativity to the process. And that continued. The Nimbus boys all had children before me. They're all a few years older, and I wanted to keep down that path. So I started reaching deeper into my network and community, and I bought a van, and I built it out and did projects with GoPro and kept taking that concept of creating my own content, creating my existence, manifesting how I wanted to show up, how I wanted to ski. And it took me, once again, on just this beautiful journey through life. I got to travel with some of my best friends. John Jackson and I grew up together. We did a lot of projects for GoPro. We did a lot of different things over the years. And through that long process, like I said, we're not linear here, I found rock climbing. And Julian reminded me tonight that I've lost rock climbing a little bit, so I need to find it again. But I was climbing a lot. I was learning how to trust your partner, trust your gear, and I was falling in love with these other sports and following these other paths that were then contributing back to this overall creative process that I have adapted. And with love and trust comes my beautiful wife here, who has obviously been a big part of that journey. And yes, yep, we've got to give some flowers to Kimmy, and I will get to Kimmy. Don't worry, she's a massive part of this journey. And for those of you who were here last year, I'm hoping to have less tears in the audience. But yes, that time was incredible. I found all of these sports and all of these things that were shaping who I was becoming as a man and the people along the way, which leads me to one of my biggest mentors, J.P. Auclair, who I would love to honor again. We lost in an avalanche many years ago, and I miss him dearly, but he was my first trip to New Zealand, my first trip to Canada, my first trip to Alaska, my first trip to Japan, and he was just someone that was already on the path that I have now chosen and wasn't ever telling me what path to take, but I was just curious. I'm an inherently curious person, and I love learning from people. And when I see someone doing something incredible, I take notes mentally, subconsciously, all of these things. And JP had an incredible journey. I'm sure many of you have seen his work over the years, and he took creative control of how he edited his ski shots and all of the things. And he taught me simple things that last with me a lifetime. Even, I think he, I don't know if it was judging me or not, but he taught me how to hold my fork and knife properly when I was quite young. And something I now eat with a fork and knife a lot, and I think of JP every time. So thank you, JP. And yes, and there's just these little moments in time that really become so impactful as you keep down this journey and as you keep evolving and meeting new people. Like this gentleman. This is Kimmy's uncle, Glenn. She took me to Kauai for my 19th birthday. We've been together a very long time. She took me to meet her family, to meet Glenn and Kathy. And he had moved to Kauai in 1986 as a diesel mechanic to pursue surfing. He never, similar to my dad, similar to my grandfather, chose his life path and didn't want to go back. And he gave me the gift of surfing, but he also he was my weekly phone call about real estate, about finances, about all of those things I was missing in a father figure. And sadly, another one that I lost far too soon, but someone that gave me such important, impactful life lessons that I take with me today, and someone I think about daily, like surfing clearly is a humongous part of my life. And surfing led me to all kinds of incredible journeys. This was in New Zealand. That's JP and I actually surfed that exact location together. Just the gift of mentors and people showing you how to live a life or take a different path or pull on those threads that might create something new and useful for you down the road. And surfing, I would have never known at the time, but became such a useful tool for me to understand how a board glides in water. Snow is frozen water. I eventually would be creating skis, and I would eventually be implementing ideas, and I would eventually meet this gentleman who, thank goodness, is still with us today, and I hope for many, many years. But this is Rob Machado. He became like a brother to me, still is a brother, and he just showed me a path that was acceptable. In surfing, I'm not going to tell his story because I wouldn't ever do it justice, but he chose the free surfing path, and he chose to leave competition, and he was one of the greatest surfers in the world. And he just showed me to prioritize family and to prioritize style and to prioritize all the things that really matter in the sports that we do, because they are an art form and they are an extension of us, and they are something that clearly all of us love. That's why we live in these communities and do what we do. And he taught me a lot about shaping. And I'm going to take a drink of water real quick, because my lovely wife might have made me lose my throat. He taught me a lot about shaping, a lot about hydrodynamics, a lot about what a board does in water. And inevitably, I was curious. I was asking a lot of questions. I wondered if those would translate over to snow. And with that, I took ideas that he gave me and leads us to my ski with Atomic, the Benchetler. I was able to test skis, try things with the Austrians who knew how to make skis very, very well, but take ideas and concepts that don't necessarily exist in Austria because of the people I had met along the way and because of the ideas that some of these mentors and these peoples have put into my mind. And it led to many, many skis. I'm almost 20 years in with Atomic, which is just incredible. So thank you. Thank you, Atomic. Yeah, and this is not all of them. I was cheating and using the internet a little bit here, but I was able to design so many incredible things. And this, once again, starting this in 2007 when I signed with Atomic, rekindled that first love I had for art and was now a canvas and a platform for me to get back in the studio and to create and to have something that was an expression of how I saw the world, the challenges, the love, the beauty, all of it that comes through my art. Because ultimately, my art, I am just a medium, if you will, and those concepts and those ideas move through me. A lot of people ask, like, what's my inspiration, or why I paint what I paint, and I don't often have an answer because it's something bigger than me. It's something back to the universe and staying open and staying curious and just being present and keep practicing, keep trying to do the things that you love to do, and they will take you on an unbelievable path. Like 20 years of creating ski graphics, and ultimately that led to a family of graphics. The Benchetler family grew from one powder ski to 7 models now, and that leads us to the Benchetler family, which there's our little guy, Koa, and this is, once again, where I'll get back to Gimme, who has been with me on this entire journey, and she's been such a rock and a cornerstone into how I view the world, and a lot of those life lessons, she's been a mentor to me too. We've grown up together. We've seen a lot. We've done a lot, and becoming a father is a completely different feeling for those of you that are fathers. It's really hard to explain, or just parenthood in general. It's something so beautiful that takes you on another life journey, but the most rewarding yet. This is now my opportunity to pass down those things that I learned, how to surf from Glenn, and how to travel the world, and how to try all of these things that have shaped me into who I am. And I've been to some incredible places with some incredible people in this room, actually, this one right here. And I kept taking them to do the things that I love to do, and I would take them climbing, and I've learned that it's pretty difficult to belay someone and have a 2-year-old, and I learned all of the complications that come with parenting, which is why I sadly don't climb as much as I do anymore. I just need to get a little heavier so we can belay each other. But it is amazing to be able to share these passions with my children. But also, I think the biggest thing, going back to what these mentors and these people have done for me, they've been teachers. I've been learning. I've been, once again, curious. And I think my children have taught me more than any of my previous mentors or father figures or any of these people ever could have. they've exposed all my flaws as a human. They've exposed my weaknesses, my patience, all of these things. I think we have a running thing. What's life's most important lesson is patience. And so they've just taught me so much and been such a blessing. And with exposing traumas, I had also had a lot of head injuries over the years, and I've just, once again, curious. And it came to a point where, forget how many years ago, it was well over a decade ago, I had one final crash on my mountain bike and had to go see a neurologist. And my personality was changing. I was getting more frustrated. I was getting more eggy, I guess would be a word I would use. But it was a noticeable shift that Kimmy brought to my attention. And so I went down the path of mushrooms, which is an interesting concept to talk about, especially that I'm not a mycologist. But it's a very, very powerful medicine that you could get at the grocery store. And I learned a lot by going to a neurologist and going down the Western medicine path and understanding that I did have brain trauma, but I didn't want to heal it in a Western way. So I started Googling, and I came across a gentleman named Paul Stamets. And he wrote in the early 2000s, yep, he deserves a round of applause. He does, yep. There he is right there, that handsome fella. He wrote Mycelium Running. He did podcasts. For those of you that haven't seen, you should please go watch his documentary, The Fantastic Fungi. But he writes about how mushrooms can save the world. And once again, I'm not speaking specifically about psychedelics. They play their role here, but he is an incredible teacher and became a massive teacher of mine without ever meeting him at that point. I was just devouring his content and trying to truly understand what mushrooms could do for me and how they could heal my brain. And lion's mane, this is in Paul's lab, but lion's mane specifically is an incredible mushroom that you can get at the grocery store. Probably not here, actually, more Northwest grocery store. You don't see them that often here, but they reroute neurological pathways. They were something I started taking and started really diving deep into. Because I grew up in the 80s, in 90s, with a fear of psychedelics and a fear of mushrooms. And I was a very creative person, and I didn't want to lose my creativity or change my personality or do some of the things that I was scared to do. And I think there is, as Paul says, a microphobia in a lot of people. But if we can educate ourselves and go down the road of actually healing and expanding consciousness and opening our minds a bit, it's very beautiful, and you can do it in many ways, and it's something that I continued to explore that came through my artwork. This is actually some visuals we created for the Sphere in Las Vegas with the Grateful Dead, which was, yep. And I had to make sure Paul approved my mushroom shapes and that they were correct and or at least somewhat accurate. And yes, it was something that contributed to my artwork and contributed it to expanding my consciousness as a human and continuing to question the universe and question who I am and how I see these things. And something that's been a gift, really, that's helped me become a kinder person. It did help heal my brain. I mean, Kimmy can attest, just taking lion's mane for the year that I did after that crash, I was starting to remember a lot more and do a lot more that was surprising her, like remembering these little things that I would have never remembered in the past. And once again, they helped me think bigger, think to the cosmos, which ultimately kept me growing and evolving and going back to, during this process, I'm making films. And I meet the fellows over at Sweetgrass, and we have another Tahoe legend in there, Darren up there, but Darren and I got to ski with Sweetgrass for Afterglow in 2013, 14, I believe, and it was so mind-opening, eye-opening. I now saw everything that I loved, it was art and skiing and you could control the sun and place light and control shadows and contrast and depth in a mountain landscape. And these guys at Sweetgrass became more mentors of mine, more people that I was asking questions, trying to pull on these threads, meet these relationships, and go down this path of learning how to do something different that I had done for so many decades prior, the same old way. And that leads us to 2019, Fire on the Mountain, which, thank you. On the right there, Jeremy, thank you for being there. Thank you for being here. Fire on the Mountain, another incredible journey and a big part of my story, because now I haven't really spoken about music as an art form, but music is another one of those threads that shaped who I am and shapes how I view the world. And it's the rhythm that moves through us in all of these sports, all of these activities. Music is such an important element of my life. I'm a horrible guitarist, so if I'm ever playing in front of you, I apologize. But I do love it dearly, and it's another thing that just shaped who I am, and specifically the Grateful Dead shaped who I am, which enter Mickey Hart and Bill Walton, another massive, massive mentor of mine. Bill, I don't have a lot of words for Bill. In the short time we knew each other, he became such a special human to me, and just another one of those teachers that was similar to JP. He would correct the simple things. I think I used to speak and say honestly or to be honest quite a lot, and I'll never say it again, or I will try to never say it again. He was like, always speak with honesty. You never need to reiterate. That means that you're not honest all the time. And I was like, got it, Bill. So I just to be impeccable with your word. That was Bill's ultimate goal in teaching me. And he was another one, similar to Paul Stamets, actually. Both of them had a severe stutter. And Bill, early on, sent me his paper that he wrote on stuttering. And he, I believe it was in college, learned to cure his stutter when he was one of the greatest basketball players of all time. He couldn't look people in the eyes, and he couldn't speak, but he taught himself to speak at UCLA with different techniques, and as did Paul. And so speaking and being impeccable with his word was something he cared deeply about and taught me a lot. And here's some more life lessons. My son actually loves this video as much as I did. I shot Bill with my iPhone, and this is just to give you an example of what kind of teacher he was, and he gives us all a little something to take home. 4 laws of learning right here.
The 4 laws of learning. Demonstration, somebody shows you what to do. Imitation, you do it. Correction, be adjustments to what you're not doing right. And then repetition, 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 repetition. Here we go.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Bill. And yes, Bill, sadly, as many characters and mentors in my story, for whatever reason, is another person that I lost far too soon, but gave me those life lessons that every time I hear any of you say honestly or to be honest, you'll make me think of Bill. And a lot of us say it. So next time you're speaking to someone, you could think of Bill too. And he was such a bright light, and he embedded me so deeply into the Grateful Dead community and culture. And I know a lot of people ask me, like, how did I get there? And Bill is that thread. Bill was that person that I resonated with for whatever reason, and pulled on those threads and kept being curious and kept trying to learn from. And he just pulled me under his wing, his very tall wingspan there, and took me on this journey to meet members of the Grateful Dead that were his family. He had been to over 1,000 shows, and he was the tallest, the biggest Deadhead, very well known, and someone that I will miss dearly. And simultaneously, during Fire on the Mountain, we were making a documentary, which hopefully many of you were here last year to see my lovely wife speak, because she's an incredible, incredible inspiration and very powerful woman, and someone that I look up to daily and has been amazing. You're still clapping, Zeppelin. Thank you. Yes, that's right. She has been on a journey. We've been on a journey together, and learning all of these lessons from all of these people and showing up for my wife and trying to be the best version of myself I could be in a time of need was really challenging. It's really hard to know when to pull on the threads of Fire on the Mountain, the greatest project at that point in my life that has ever happened, and I'm meeting Grateful Dead members, and I'm having these opportunities, and all of these amazing things are happening, and on the same side, my wife is going through cancer and going through all of these challenges that juxtaposition or that tug on my heart was extremely hard to navigate, and I don't think, for any of you that have seen Butterfly in a Blizzard, I don't think I navigated it that well. It's in there. It's documented, unfortunately. Yes, but I did my best, and I showed up, and I really love my wife dearly, and I wanted to help her get through that and help us get through that. And so I kept going, kept showing up for my family. Thank you. We found another little Tahoe community member that we love dearly, Elena. She's showing up a lot for us as well. It was hard to fit so many wonderful people into a short slide here. But we navigated that. We navigated her documentary. We navigated life and reevaluating and trying to be there for my family. And once we kind of got through that, what would any logical person do? A more complicated film project that's going to be even more stress and take me away from my family even more. So I'm going to show you a quick little behind the scenes of this latest project. And just one more thank you to Kimmy for letting me pursue another one. I'm trying to highlight action sports and how we are quite literally riding the pulse of the universe.
Where did you have the audacity to think that something like this was possible?
He's able to manifest these things that he wants to do that for normal people are not achievable.
What was it for the band that said, ooh, these things can layer?
If the Dead are going to partner with anyone on this, it's going to be the best, or they're just not going to do it.
Better be good. Some nights everyone's gelling and you're all together and...
Am I worried? No, I trust these guys.
And some nights, everyone has a different idea of where to start.
I asked you if you had storyboards. Yeah. And you're like, no, it's in my head.
You need people that are like-minded that go, yeah, I know exactly what you're thinking. Watch this.
Tonight's going to be the night for lasers, I think. It's like the falling snow. This is what we want.
And I've hand-selected my band, and we're all in rhythm to make this thing come to life.
Chris has an interesting drive. I think he really wants to cement himself as an artist, but in a mixed media format.
I understand there's failure in all of this.
Wow, this is quite an experience.
Thank you very much, thank you. Yes, so once again, I found an opportunity. Mickey, through Bill Walton, came to me on their final tour for Dead & Company in 2023 and was like, hey, Mickey told me that he loved the visuals that we created for Fire on the Mountain. Were any unused visuals available for Drums in Space? And I said, no, there was not, but I've been thinking about making another film so we could make some new visuals, which then took me on this whole beautiful journey, once again, just listening and curious about what the universe was presenting and when, and through having conversations with Mickey, we got to bring him up to Mammoth, and we set up his drums on a massive woolly mammoth sculpture that was unbelievable to see. It was so much work and so many people involved to make it what it was. And we had the Sphere team come in, and we had all of these people come in to capture content for what ultimately was going to be their residency at the Sphere. For any of you that got to see it, lucky you, it was incredible. Their Sphere residency was a special treat. I wish they were still going. But it was unbelievable, and it was something that I would have never imagined for myself. It's not these things that I'm trying to make happen. Yes, I manifest my reality, and yes, I'm asking questions and pulling on threads. Like, of course, I could have left it at that. When Mickey asked me if I had any visuals, I could have just said no, but instead I was inquisitive and asked what his plans were, what comes next, what could we do together, and ultimately we got to create something truly out of this world. For me, it was so special to experience and work with the teams of people. There's so many people that made it a reality, but that was something very special along the way, and that was the sculpture we made. That's all of us athletes jumping over Mickey as he's playing drums into the night there, which was amazing, and just something that I'll pinch myself forever that I got to do was watch Mickey Hart play drums on top of a woolly mammoth in Mammoth. And that was just the start of our project. And going back to community, the people, the collaboration, you see Michelle and Elena here, who are two staples in my life as well, and two people that have stuck by Kimmy and I through thick and thin, through all of these life complications. They keep showing up for our kids and keep showing up for all of the things that we've gone through in this world. And we got to go on this beautiful journey together. That's Michelle skiing under the lights there. Yeah. And these athletes, of course, I ski and I love skiing, but it was so important for me to highlight the athletes that were a part of this project and use them as the brushstrokes to paint the pictures of this ultimate art piece that is, like I said, the culmination of all of these life lessons that got me to here. And so we were able to test with lasers at Sam Kutch there, airing some pillows in BC. I think that's Jeff Wright, who's here tonight, one of my favorite filmers over here. Just everyone had to come together, had to believe in whatever BS I was telling them, that this was going to be easy or this was going to be something worth doing. But no, I think it really was worth doing. It was something gorgeous. There's two more of our Tahoe locals. We got Danny Davis over there and Elena slashing in the beautiful light. And just being able to, once again, like what Sweetgrass originally taught me, to paint these landscapes with light and color and to be able to control the sun, like I said, and be able to actually use different techniques than we have in the daylight. You're so limited to to slopes with sun, so a lot of north-facing lines that never really get the sun don't film well, but once you start bringing the sun with you, you can really get creative on what you can do and how you can paint these mountains and lean into the natural world. And the climbing here was unbelievable. I think we might have climbed a couple of Jay's routes, actually. They were great. Thanks for putting those up. But yes, it was amazing to be able to take all of these sports that I explained earlier. We took climbing, we took mountain biking, we took surfing, we took skiing, snowboarding, freediving. I just piled them all into one project to really highlight how I see the world, how athletes, quite literally, or athletes and recreationists, how skiers, all these people ride the pulse of the universe. You are so in that flow state and so present when you're doing these things. And we just made it a lot more complicated by putting a weird skeleton suit and strange rigs up on the walls and lots of specialists and people to make this thing come to life. But it was following those threads and following those things that have shaped me, and following those relationships and people, and just bringing them all together. And going back to Paul here, I wanted to highlight the old growth forest and where mushrooms thrive and where mycelium exists through the soil, and follow those threads. And Paul narrates our film and takes us on that journey, just explaining how everything, all of us, our fabric is connected, and we are all descendants of mycelium on some level, and how it is from the Big Bang to the galaxies. And we encapsulate that entire thing on this journey. We start the film, for those of you that haven't seen it, we created an avalanche sequence that takes you. We put the camera in an avalanche, and we built a crash box. We did all these things to represent the Big Bang and the creation of all existence. And then this journey weaves throughout these different sports and throughout these different ecosystems. And it has the seasons, it has the water cycle, it has all of these things that I'm not a scientist, so I tried to find the right people to help me tell that story in the best way. And once again, the right people that I had met along the way to help me tell that story. And some of Shane over there is who I first met on Sweetgrass. He got stuck on a ridge up in Alaska. There was high AVI danger when we were doing Afterglow, and the AVI danger was too high, and the heli took off without his sleeping bag or Puffy. And so he had to build a snow cave and start the generator to heat his toes all night. And he had his radio listening to Christian rock station in Juneau, or maybe it was Anchorage, actually. And he was just curled up in a ball till we could come and get him in the morning. But what these people are capable, and how many amazing memories and things that have brought us all together to create these incredible works of art, really. Like, this project was meant to be an abstract art project. It was meant to replicate paintings. It was meant to be something that hasn't yet existed in this space, or in the action sports world necessarily. So we just kept exploring the depths. We kept playing with light, like to be able to backlight Rob here. We had a jet ski behind the wave, rigging up crazy generators and lights to have a consistent light for that long. And we then went up to Tofino, BC. This is Kimmy Werner here, who is another beautiful human that is so in tune with the ocean. And just, she was my hope to represent space. We went to the jellyfish to try and, I didn't have the ideas I couldn't figure out how to get us into space. So I chose the ocean to represent drums in space for Mickey, and how we actually reached the cosmos. And jellyfish felt like the most alien and cool way to represent that. So we went far north and had some incredible experiences, and brought artwork and lasers and all of these different techniques to try and put it up a few notches. And we came out of the darkness. The whole film is based at night, and we came into the light to, once again, go back to the science. I don't know how many people have heard of Andrew Huberman. He is not a friend or a mentor, but he is someone that I listen to on podcasts. If he's ever watching this, I would love to have a chat with you sometime. He's talks a lot about staring at morning sunlight and the benefits that we get from red light. And so to come out of the darkness, we wanted to come into the sunlight. And that is actually my brother, Peter, fly fishing. And he does river restoration up in these neck of the woods. And after the old growth trees got cut down, however many years ago, the sediment washed out all the rivers, or a lot of the rivers, and the fish lost their habitat and their ability to spawn. So him and his company, he's an engineer, they go up there and do a lot of that work. So we had fish in the film, we have eagles in the film. There's some other things that you'll hopefully see if you ever see the film, but we tried to tie in all of these scientific concepts that, once again, find their way into my work and into my art through just being curious. Once again, I'm not academically gifted. I don't pretend to know a lot, but I do like to learn. So I am constantly curious, and I'm constantly trying to evolve as a human, as an artist, and care for the natural world and care for creation and all these beautiful things. So they're all something that's represented in there. And with all of these beautiful things comes another person I would love to honor tonight. This is Mike Gardner, who is Elena's partner and someone that was a big part of the film. He was in the climb section and on the snow section up on the rock, and another human that we lost far too soon. But what's different about Mike is, yes, I could have learned a lot from him, but I almost feel like I finally had a chance to repay that mentor role, and I could bring him in and try to get him, I got him sponsored by Atomic, and I saw he was such a dark horse and so talented at what he did, but he just was in the shadows and just so focused on the craft, and I wanted to shine a light on him and help him get out into the world. And just another person that, yes, I'm saying I mentored him, but once again taught me a lot, and someone that we will miss dearly, and loved having him be a part of this project. And this leads me to my quote I put on Instagram. These are all the threads that guide us, teach us, challenge us, shape us, and ultimately turn us into who we're meant to become. And I just thank you all for being here tonight and sharing this space with me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, thank you.